Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be creating the first service inside of our application, and this is going to be our navigation service, and it's just going to be a utility file or a class in this case, which is going to provide us some functionality of actually being able to navigate between the different pages of our application. And since the actual class needs to be registered during the actual initialization process, I think this was a good time to actually implement it and kind of discuss the caveats associated with such implementation. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see how to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is that inside of our lib folder, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call that services. And once that is done, inside of here, I'm going to create a new service, and this service is going to be called navigation service. So navigation underscore service dot dart. With this, I'm going to open the file up and we can begin coding the file. So the first thing that we need to do is that we need to define the class. So I'm going to do class and I'm going to say navigation service, and it's just going to be a simple Dart class, so nothing else to be extended from. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm just going to import the material package before we'll require it. And with that done, we are now ready to actually get the show on the road. So for our navigation service, the one thing that we need is we need a navigation key. And what's a navigation key? Well, it kind of holds the state of our navigator. You could say that's what a key is. So I'm going to say that it's going to be a static global key. So that means that this navigation service class is going to have a static property associated with it of type global key, and it's going to be navigator state, and then I'm going to just call it navigator key, and then it's going to be equal to a new global key, and it's going to be of type navigator state, and then I'm just going to add the brackets and do Alt-Shift-F, Command save. Now that we have this done, I'm going to add some utility methods to this class, which are going to allow us to perform different kind of actions. The first one that I'm going to add is going to be a function which won't return anything, so void, and it'll called remove and navigate to route. So what this function will do is that it'll take a string in, which will be the name of our route, and we'll define these routes later on, but for now just remember that we'll pass in the name of a page, let's just say our route, and then we'll take our navigator key. Remember, this holds the state of our navigator, and then I'm going to say current state, and now with Flutter 2.0 we have null safety checks, so I'm going to add the question mark because the state may or may not be there, and then I'm going to call pop and push named method. And what pop and push name does is that it's going to take the current page that we are at, it's going to pop that off so we can't navigate back to this page, and it's going to replace that page with the new page of whatever route name we passed in. So I'll pass in the route, and that's all we have to do in this function. Similar to this, I'll have another function. I'll call this function navigate to route, and this function will just actually take in a route, but it won't actually replace the current page that we're on. It'll just add the route that we added on top of the page that we were currently on and navigate us to that new route. So I'll say navigator key current state, and then after that do dot push named, and then just pass in the route again, and that's pretty much it. Now that I have these two functions implemented, I'm going to implement another function, and this function is going to be responsible for navigating us to a widget. So in this case, I'm just going to say navigate to page, and in this case what I'm going to say is that I'm going to say that we are going to pass in a widget page, and then what we'll do is that we'll take our navigator key, we'll take our current state, and then instead of doing pop and push name or push name, we'll do push. And push expects us to pass in a material page route, so I'll do material page route. And then inside of here, we have a builder function which defines how our page is going to be built. So in our case, what we'll do is that our builder function is going to take in a build context. And then I'm going to add these curly brackets, and I'm going to return the actual page that we sent in. And with this, I'm going to add a semicolon at the end, add the corresponding commas just for reformatting, and then do Command save. And finally, the last function that I'm going to add is the function which is going to allow us to go back to the page from which we had navigated. So for that, I'll just call this function go back. It's also going to be a void, and I'm going to say navigator key dot current state, and then dot pop. And how we're going to be using this class is going to become apparent once we actually implement or link it up inside of our application. But for now, we have our navigation service all ready for us to use. So I'm going to do command save. I'm going to go back to our splash page and I'm going to import it. So to import it, I'm going to go to the top where I'm actually importing packages, and I'm going to say now that I'm going to import pages, and then I'll do import dot dot slash services slash, and then I'm going to do it's called navigation underscore service dot dart. And with this, I'll do command save, come down to where we have our register services function, and inside of here I am going to now register our navigation service. But what I'd like to do is that I'd like to have access to our service throughout our application, and a very helpful way of doing that is by using a package that we had actually added in previous videos called getIt, which allows us to register a singleton instance of whatever class we want to do inside of our application and then have access to it throughout our application. So to use getIt, or to use getIt to actually register a singleton instance, what I'm going to do is that first I'll need access to getIt. So I'll go to the top and I'm going to import getIt. And once I have the getIt package imported, I'm going to come down and I'm going to do a thing called getIt. So getIt.instance.register singleton. And then for singleton, I have to define what type of singleton it is going to be. So I'll say navigation service. And then once that is done, I'm going to open up the actual brackets, and inside of the brackets, I'm going to call navigation service and then create a new instance of it. And that's pretty much all I had to do. With this, I'll do command save and reload our application or restart. Hopefully we shouldn't get any errors, as you can see, and our navigation service has now been successfully registered. So now with this done, I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video where we'll create our next service, which is going to be our media service. And this media service is going to allow us to have access to the different, let's just say, files inside of our device. And particularly the files that we're concerned with are the images present inside of our device. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.